Hey there. Okay, I wanted to give you a little tour and talk about some of the ways that you could use the homeschool planner. So here we are inside the planner. You've got a nice little place to put your name in there and table of contents, and then we get to the calendars. Now, I will tell you about these calendars that the planner itself is undated. We have put the 2022 calendar and the 2023 calendar in the front here so you could use it as a reference. And actually, we've designed these to be back to back to each other so you could actually tear this page out if you happen to buy the planner in late 2023 and we haven't yet gotten an update. So, the calendar is just for your reference. I would take a pencil to this calendar and use it to circle the dates that I intended to do school. And so this is kind of the first thing that I want to say about this particular planner is this planner was really designed to use along with our plan your year planning process or our put your homeschool year on autopilot planning process. And what we try to do there is help you to create the most flexible homeschool plan possible by doing big picture planning, planning out the possibilities of what you could do on the days that it is easy to do school. And so this does not look like your traditional homeschool planner. So let me talk a little bit about what you're going to find inside. We have our long range planning sheet. So this is the months that are coming up ahead. What are the topics, ideas, or things that I might want to cover in the upcoming months? So I might put different ideas here or field trip reminders if I want to remember when I want to go on certain field trips. But this is just a place for me to put what is coming up over the next year and what are the things that I don't want to forget to do in my homeschool. Next is the attendance record. Now you can see this is a page you're gonna turn it sideways. This is the exact attendance form I use every single year and have for the past 7 years. Love it. And then on the facing page is a place for you to write your homeschool vision. Now, there's any number of ways that you can write a homeschool vision. We teach a number of different ways in the Plan Your Yearbook and a very specific way in the Put Your Homeschool Year on Autopilot course. But it's always good to have a copy of your vision in the front of your book. This is also one of those pages that I would tab. So I would take my little scrapbooking tab maker and I would cut myself out a tab or use a piece of washi tape and stick it along this edge so that I could always easily find this homeschool vision page. And the great thing is it would also help me find my attendance record as well. Next, we have our goals worksheet and our student goals pages. And so this allows us to work through the goal making process that we teach in Plan Your Year or in Put Your Homeschool Year on Autopilot and work through that process and come up with 3 to 5 goals for each one of our students. And the reason we make goals is because we can't cover everything equally all the time. If you have 3 students, you can't give all 6 or 7 subjects that they're doing the same amount of weight. And so we're going to work through the goal making process and write down our student goals here in the planner. And we actually have done enough of these pages so that if you have a great big family, 10 kids, you can add goals worksheets for each and every child. Next is our course of study pages, and we've put about 6 of these, 8 of these in here for you. I'm still counting a bunch. We put a bunch of course of study pages for you. And the reason we did, actually, I think we did about 10, was because once again, a lot of times families will create one of these for each one of their students. And so I do every single year. Each one of my students gets their own course of study. What subjects are they doing? How often are they doing those subjects? And, what days of the week or what resources are we using? So I put all of that on my course of study page. And then I usually create a course of study page for the family as a whole for those subjects we do together as a family. So it looks like we put 10 of those in there for you. The next pages that we get to, so the first sets of pages that I've showed you so far are big picture planning pages for the year. And the next sets of pages, now we get into scheduling. So, what subjects are we going to do in each term? Now, I will tell you that I do not do 6 terms in my homeschool year. I really do 2 terms in my homeschool year. And so I'm just going to fill out the first 2 columns of one of these pages, but we've given you enough of these in here that if you do multiple terms, if you want different schedules, if you want a schedule for each child, you could totally do that. So lots of block schedule planning pages. If you don't use these, you could once again tear those pages out. And then we've given you a number of loop schedule planning pages as well. So these are all the places that you can plan your loop schedules for individual children, for your family, for your morning time, whatever you would like to plan there for your loop schedule. You've got a number of pages to do that. And then we move into what does a week in our homeschool look like? So we've given you a few different weekly plan pages so you could do some blocking or some daily plan pages. So the weekly plan pages are more for like, here's the times that we're going to be working through, here's the routine that we're trying to follow. One of the things that I always do with the weekly plan every single year is sit down and block out the times that we are going to be out of the house or the times that we have specific classes or appointments, because that helps me get a good overview of the big chunks of time that I could do school. And then the daily plan pages are more for planning those blocks. So, block 1 at our house might be morning time. What are the things that we're going to do on the various days of the week in morning time? Block 2 might be independent work. What are the things that we're going to do in independent work on the various days of the week? So, we've given you a number of those particular pages. Once again, you could fill them out for different kids, um, however you want to do that. Then we get into our resource planning list. So, as you are doing your resource planning, what are the different resources you need? When do you need it? And where are you going to get it from? So, at some point, do I need to pick up a science experiment kit? At some point, do I need to get a new encyclopedia for history? At some point, do I need to pick up a different resource for science? Whatever it is, I can put these here and put the date that I need them. And so, what this keeps me from having to do is buying all of my materials in the summer. Instead, what I've done is I made a list of everything that I need, the approximate date that I need it by. And you could even put a term here, like by term 2, if you don't want to lock yourself in. And then where are you going to get it? Am I getting it from the library? Am I getting it from Amazon? Am I getting it from Rainbow Resources? So very easily at various points during the year, I can go back in here and pick up the next 3 or 4 things that I need without having to spend my entire budget in the summer. So there are a number of different resource planning pages, and then we move into the lesson plan lists. So the lesson plan lists are specific lesson plans. So I'm going to put my subject name up here and I'm going to put my lessons down here. And it may take me like 2 or 3 of these for science or 2 or 3 of these for history. And then I'm going to list down all of the activities that we're going to do for our lesson plan. Notice that I'm doing this by subject. And so what this means is when it's time to do science, I'm going to open it up to this page and I'm going to do the next lesson on the list. And that means that science is not in a grid tied to a specific date. I just simply move down the list and do the next thing for science or history or Shakespeare or whatever the lesson plan is. And we've got a number of different lesson plan list pages in here for you to plan those out. And we teach you all about how to make lesson plan lists inside Plan Your Year or the Put Your Homeschool Year on Autopilot course. After the lesson plan list, we have procedure lists. Now, procedure lists are another kind of lesson plan that we teach, and procedure lists are a little more general and less specific. And so, if I'm doing a lesson plan list for science, I'm not going to do a procedure list for science. If I want to do a procedure list for science instead, what I'm going to write here are the things that we do every time we do a science lesson. So maybe we're using flying uh, flying animals of the fifth day, like the Apologia Elementary Science. And every single time we do a science lesson, we actually do the same 5 or 6 steps. So instead of making a lesson plan for that, I'm simply going to make a procedure for my science lesson and list out those 5 or 6 steps that we do. It might be like looking up vocabulary, it might be reading a section from the book, narrating that section back, drawing one of the diagrams from the book into our nature journal and labeling the pieces. And every single time we do a science lesson, that may be what we do. Well, I don't need to make lesson plans for that. Instead, I'm going to make a procedure list. Once again, we teach all about how to do procedures. They're one of my very favorite things. They really make your homeschool open and go and easy to use. And we teach you how to do it and plan your year or and put your homeschool year on autopilot. Love procedure lists. They are the ultimate in autopilot for your homeschool. Okay, so this is all of our planning section. So what I've shown you so far are all the different planning pages you need to make the plan for your homeschool year. Um, and like I said, we teach you how to do that with our planning resources. So, this next section of the book is actually your weekly plan pages. And the thing that I want you to notice about these is we have left them very open ended. This is very much a planner you can use not only to plan homeschool things, but also to plan life things. So you're going to put your month and your week up here every single week, and then you can write your date in here. So whatever the date is of the month, you can put that in, and then we've given you a number of spaces down here to work with. So you could do meal planning in this upper section. You could do morning time plans in this upper section. Um, whatever you want to do, you've got a smaller section up here for some kind of planning for each day of the week. Then you have the larger block, which you could put lesson plans in here if you want to. You could write what you're doing for various subjects. This would be a great place to put appointments. If you don't have a lot of appointments, you could put appointments up here in the gray section and put something else here in this section. This is also your page where you can put some fun planning stickers. And then we've also given you a to-do list, like what are the things that need to get done either in your homeschool or around your house. We've tried to leave this very open-ended for you. Here's a place for you to track maybe the water that you're drinking today. Maybe you need to track something else and use these down here. And then a habit tracker as well to help you build those really great habits that are going to make your homeschool run a little more smoothly. You can track mom habits up here. You could pick a kid and track kid habits if you want to. If you got 2 kids, you could do 2 different kid habits, however you want to do it. We have tried to leave this open-ended enough that this becomes a planner that you could really use for planning your homeschool, which were all of these pages up here, and then planning your school week and your life, which are all of these pages down here. So we have a spread. We have, I think it's like 36 spreads in here for the school year. And then we get to the end and we have what we call these open ended uh, journal pages. And so this is a great place to keep a track of. It's a reading log for the family, things that you're reading together. It can be a reading log for individual kids. You can put those there. It could be an idea sheet for like great curriculum to look at for next year. You can start making a list of this in here. It could be things we want to memorize, things we want to learn, but we've given you a bunch of these just kind of general open-ended log pages in the back so you can make notes of all kinds of things back here. So that's kind of an idea of what we thought some of the pages could be used for. You are certainly welcome to use the pages however you see fit. I mean, that's the beauty of it. We want to give you as many helpful hints as we can, but we don't want to tell you how to do it exactly. You make the planner work for you. And let us know if you have any questions.